Hey guys, welcome to the 8th episode of the Learning Podcast. And if you're unsure, it's simply a show dedicated to learning something new from every single guest on this show. And it's a Singaporean podcast. And today I have with me a friend that I met through LinkedIn. And I think it's quite unconventional because I've been receiving so many messages from people on LinkedIn. And I find it very fascinating to meet people online because I think such a trend was not very common. Perhaps 10 years ago, it's like online dating and meeting online people right now. So the guest I have with me today is Haris.
Hi.
Haris is a software developer. He's a software developer, and I think if you are interested in just from a layman's perspective of understanding UI UX, the development of an app, I think that I'll hopefully try to extract valuable information from him in a sense whereby it's layman, because sometimes I think that when I talk to software developers, right, they talk to me in a very different way, like they throw me all these technical jargons, and at the end of the day, right, I don't really understand what's happening. So I hope that you can.
Me too.
But I hope that maybe you can break things down in a very simple way. There are two reasons why I feel that you should listen to this podcast. Firstly, you have no idea about software development. Yeah, this is the reason why you should listen to this. And secondly, Haris actually quit his full-time job just last week. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's currently working on his own startup. It's my first time meeting Haris in person. I haven't known him before this at all, and I think that I would like to ask him about his mindset in terms of starting his own business, and the stories that he can share in terms of the kind of support that he has been given or not been given from his family. So Haris, thanks so much for coming all the way to this place. It's a very ulu part of Singapore.
Yep.
And for those listeners that don't know who you are, could you just give a very quick backstory of who you are, where you come from, and what are you doing right now?
So let me introduce myself. My name is Haris. My social handles is The Happy Haris. And I'm currently working on my startup. I don't want to say startup. I'm working on this company that I've incorporated. It's called Zukunf. Zukunf is German for future. Okay. So the idea behind it is the future of education, because I'm really passionate about education and how we can impact the education sector with tech. So that's one direction that I'm going through. The product itself, I'm still not sure. I'm still figuring it out. And I was a software developer at this startup called pslove. So pslove is a femtech company, and femtech. So it's feminine tech.
Okay, that's cool.
So the first time that I heard that term, I was also a bit like, what's feminine tech? And then the founder, or now I would say he's also somewhat my mentor, he say that femtech is basically like nowadays, right, there's products that's focused on feminine health and such. So they have two kinds of products. One's their physical product, which is like, I'm shouting out to like pslove. One is their heat pads for menstrual pain, and the other one is their IT product, which is their app, which is a period tracking app. Yeah, so I was working on their period tracking app since their inception, kind of. Yeah, and then after that, I worked with them for a year and 4 months, and then I realized that I want to start my own. What better way to start your own is now. So I just quit. 2 months notice. And after that, I quit, and then I'm starting my own journey. Yeah.
So I would like to go back, right? How did you even land up in pslove in the first place? Right. Before I ask you about your entrepreneurship journey in terms of starting your own company,
definitely.
How do you land up in pslove? Like, was it like, did femtech like attracted you, or was it like the founder? You mentioned that the founder is actually a guy, so I think it's kind of interesting that the founder of a femtech startup is a guy, but not saying that like,
it's a couple.
It's a couple.
Yeah, it's a couple.
Like, how do you even find out about pslove in the first place?
So let me go back even further. I graduated from a programming bootcamp. So it's a course of 3 months where you learn programming. I didn't have any experience in programming at all. Okay. I was graduated with a diploma in applied drama and psychology. And then after that, after NS, right, I want to find work, but there isn't any opportunities, and I wanted to go to university. And after going through a part-time university in SUSS now, last time was SIM. I forgot, SIM Uni or whatever, their part-time course, right, in psychology. After like one semester, I quit because after talking to enough people, I know that I can't make it So so then I wanted to find.
You can't make it in terms of what?
Can't make it in terms of like grades. My grades was okay, but in terms of like career path, right, there isn't like a solid like path that I foresee myself in the future in terms of psychology.
Okay.
So I thought to myself, okay, why not I quit and find something that gives me more money. So I was looking out for, like, I wrote on a piece of paper what I want to do with my life. And then there was 3 options that I wrote down. One was one was psychology, the other one was clean energy, and the third one is comedy.
Why these 3?
Because I was really interested in clean energy. I really love solar like panels, and like I foresee Singapore to have more solar panels than we currently have. And then comedy is because I found myself that I'm a funny guy. I love to be like, I would try out jokes even though they are bad, right? I would try it out as much as possible. And then psychology is because like I feel that I'm a listener, and then I understand people's problems through listening. So I thought, psychology. So these were the 3 options that I wrote down on a piece of paper. And then I realized that from my limiting beliefs that I thought I couldn't do in clean energy, I thought I couldn't do in comedy. So I was like, okay, why not psychology or something else? And then I was kind of like, shit, I quit. And then now back to psychology. What am I going to do? Then I chanced upon this article that says, once you go through 3 months bootcamp, you can find a good paying job. So I searched up software development salary, and I was in. And
the salary for technical jobs like full stack developer is really much more than marketing jobs or psychology jobs. That's the truth.
That's the truth. That's a fact.
So you got into software development because of the money. Did you have any general interest towards it, or it was totally for the money? Totally for the money.
But this is really an
eventually did you?
Yeah, actually I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it because it was, first of all, it was damn challenging because I didn't have any IT background. And then after a while I enjoyed the challenges because it's like, because in my previous jobs, so I was doing part-time jobs or like doing national service, right, where it's just very brain dead. So for me, I was looking something that could challenge my brain. I love puzzles. I love all of this like riddles.
Things.
Yeah, and then programming was one of it because they always give you problems for you to solve, and then everything that you learn in programming is something new that you can learn.
Yes.
So I think you should.
I think that because my brother is a software developer as well, so he explains to me the thought process of why the career of a software developer is so exciting, because you always learn. At the core of it, you can't learn everything, and there's always something new.
It's too many things to learn about software development. So I went through the 3 months bootcamp.
Which school was this program from?
Okay, so there's it's also from a startup. I think they are called Alpha Camp.
Alpha Camp.
Yeah. So Alpha Camp is a Taiwanese company. They started in Taiwan, and then after that it grew very well, and then they wanted to expand to Singapore. And then I think they had students. One of it was me. So I was like number 4 batch.
Were you a satisfied person of the program?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it because
what's so good about this program?
I'm selling Alpha Camp also.
But I'm just generally interested. Not to force you to say that it's a good thing, but maybe you can just share about like the good things and the bad. I wouldn't say bad things, but like things you thought of the program. Like how intensive is it? So you're saying to me that I can just go into this bootcamp and at the end of it I can be a software developer? Given that I put in enough effort into it.
Yes.
But, going back, can you share more about this program from Alpha Camp?
Okay, so Alpha Camp, they have this program, the 3 months programming bootcamp, where you go through. You don't need to have any experience, but before that, right, you have to pass a certain programming test. So you can't go in without knowing anything about programming. You have to have a rough idea on how to program. That's one of their criteria. And their supposedly say percentage of students that are able to come into this program is like below, only like 20%. They take in 20%. So I was like, oh my god, this is something like I have to work very hard for. Even the criteria or admission is very hard. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn. Back then was like JavaScript. So okay, I'm learning JavaScript. Go to tutorials and then see their questions. And then after that, I tried out. And then it worked. And then I submit. And then I also submitted my resume in HTML and CSS. So that's the program language for your website. And then I put it inside that website and then send it to them. And they were impressed. And then I got in. And I realized that like almost anyone who joined the program, most of them are able to code out the coding questions. And then all of them got in. So we had like 12 12 students, including myself. And after that, most of them they don't really have background in IT, and all of us went through, I wouldn't say it's hell, but it's like hell.
Intensive.
Like, it's very intensive, and you really learn.
Can you define to me what a bootcamp is? Like, my impression of a bootcamp you stay overnight. Like, it's not like the army kind of bootcamp, right? What are the hours? So it's like intensive school session for 3 months.
Yeah.
Straight,
so imagine just a normal school full time from 9 to 5, and then you'll be just drilling a lot of lessons on how to code and how to create websites and how to what's the structure of a database and whatnot. So like every week we have to write down a journal of what we learn, and then we also have to have we are expected to create a project and after every week and then present it the next week. So for example, the first week was we had to learn how to build a tic-tac-toe game using programming language. And then the next week we have to learn how to create a HTML and CSS resume or portfolio, and then we have to present it the next week. So every week we are drilled to do that, and it was really intense because I think the speed of learning was so fast. Yeah, it was really very fast.
I'm not sure if it's a sensitive question, but how much do you pay for this program? And I'm sure at the end of the day, right, it's definitely worth it. So when it comes to investing in yourself in such courses or programs, right? What's your take on it? Like, how much do you pay for this? And I'm sure, I'm inferring that it definitely paid off well for you.
Definitely. I paid 2.7k, I think 2.7k, and it's all like all this money I did. So I was studying full time and then working part time. So working during the weekends also, and then after that, initially is subsidized by the government. So the whole cost, the bulk of the cost is subsidized by the government. 75% of it was subsidized by the government. So 2.7
is 25% of it?
Yes, correct.
Oh shit, okay.
So the whole cost 10,000 or more. And that's the cheapest course that you can find in Singapore. Now there's no price tag that is close to 10,000.
Do you believe that you can teach yourself software stuff by yourself instead of going through it? Like having went through the course.
Yeah, that was a decision that I have to make because there was two choices, because I know I want to go programming, right? So one is self-learning and then the other one is a boot camp. So self-learning, from what I've read online, right, it's a lot of discipline. You really have to go through alone. And then the thing is,
that discipline?
I probably say no. That's why I went through the bootcamp. Even though you pay 2.7k, you have someone who's experienced in the programming field, and then you have people around you.
Yeah, it helps to have that kind of environment.
Definitely, right? And I think that 2.7k is worth it. I made a lot of new friends. I made connections, and then I became more confident on my programming skills. Because when you're alone learning, right, I've done it before. I mean, after the bootcamp, but I was confident on my programming skills, so I wasn't so scared about learning it. Because if I were to learn programming skills on my own, right, first of all, I'll be slower because there isn't anyone pushing you to like learn as fast as the rest. And then secondly is that there's no moral support around you. Yes. You have yourself to do it.
Your own mind.
Yeah. And then they open up to a lot of things that I didn't know that exist. For example, do you know like there is this thing called meetup.com?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know until they say, hey, why not we go to this meetup? What's a meetup? Google. Oh, it's an event where you get free pizza. Excellent, let's go. Free pizza, really? I didn't know that. Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, I know there are certain interests on meetup.com.
Correct. So programming meetups are hot. So there's every week there's always a programming meetup, and they always have free pizza. So I go there for the free food. I also learn and
network with similar people.
Network.
Talk programming.
Correct.
Sounds like a very nerdy thing. Okay, no, not to say that nerdy thing.
No,
but I think it's quite cool.
Yeah, it is.
So moving on to your time at pslove, right?
Right.
In layman's terms, what do you do there?
I learn.
Because I know that you mentioned that they sell physical products. So do you maintain like their e-commerce websites, pixels, tracking, data analytics of that, or you ensure that it's functional, or is it more so of your effort being towards the app itself?
Actually, it's towards the app.
Okay.
So how I became like a mobile developer, they tell me as a software developer then, but I was working mostly on the mobile app side. How my founder found me is also through LinkedIn.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, LinkedIn, seriously, it's like underpriced attention, right? There's
Oh
a
my
lot
God,
of
it's great.
things that you can get. Like the amount of people that I've met through LinkedIn is really crazy, and I can even say that I got my current job through LinkedIn.
Oh, really nice.
Yeah, so really LinkedIn is crazy, and I think it's
Crazy.
a fantastic platform.
It is.
And sorry, yes, move on to how you got your job through LinkedIn.
Okay. I was actually before pslove, I was inside an internship. The company is called Tinker Tanker, and then I always wanted to do mobile app application because I knew that was the future. And after like working there for around 4 months, one of the interns said that there's this mobile framework. It's called Flutter, and it was created by Google, and it was in their beta stage, which means that it's not out in public yet. Only like if you're interested, you can use the framework and then build your own mobile apps. The good thing about this framework is that you can build in iOS and Android
At the same time.
At the same time, correct.
So for previous language, you need to like dedicate your coding. Okay, I'm a layman.
That's fine. That's fine.
You need to dedicate. Okay, this is for iOS.
Correct.
Version what?
Yeah.
Specific versions, right? Then when it updates, you need to make some minor tweaks.
Correct.
For Android. The same
Android,
thing.
same
But for Flutter,
iOS.
you can just create one framework and it's applicable to both iOS and Android.
Correct.
It's like, that saves a lot of.
Yeah, you save a lot of manpower, money,
Yeah.
and time,
Yeah.
and it's consistent.
So is pslove based on Flutter?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They started with iOS first, their initial app, and then they took a leap of faith and tried Flutter, and then it has worked very well so far. Even though that it's quite buggy, but you don't have to hire 2 times of the engineer needed.
Yeah,
So
engineers are expensive.
And oh my god, like
Yeah.
I know how much money you make. Good money. Yeah. So so I went through learning by myself Flutter. And then after that I just updated my LinkedIn profile to say I was interested in data science, Alexa skill, and Flutter. 1 week later, my then co-founder of pslove found me on LinkedIn, and then we met.
He sent you a message.
He sent me a message like, hey, I heard that you're interested about Flutter. Let's meet up for coffee. And then after that, we met, and history.
Can you just break it down on that? Like, how do you escalate to meeting him and getting a job? Because I think that's quite interesting.
Okay, so I think I was headhunted, I would say, or like he found me on LinkedIn. So his story was that he was finding Flutter developers, and then when he searched on LinkedIn, right, he only find 3 people. So one was me, second one was someone who didn't reply to him, and third is a German guy who is the lead iOS developer in Grab. So it makes sense to just talk to me because it's cheaper. Because if you were to hire a lead engineer or very experienced engineer, it's very expensive. And then after that, we met at Bugis for a cup of coffee, and then I'm like a salesperson. I told him what's good about Flutter. I think it's gonna be the future, all of that thing. And then
Is he a technical person?
Yeah, he is. He's a technical person.
Okay.
So he created the e-commerce website for pslove, and then after that he was looking around for the mobile framework. So he didn't want an iOS and Android developer. He want one developer to build for both iOS and Android because it's expensive and whatnot, right?
So the moral of the lesson here, right, is to update your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, legit,
with
just
tangible skills that people might be looking for.
Keywords is enough. He was looking for Flutter developers. I was out of 3. I'm 1 out of 3 who put in the word Flutter in my bio.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's how LinkedIn works. You just put in, for example, Flutter developers, right? Then they will just search the keywords that you put in. So Flutter, they will search anyone with Flutter, and then you can also put in the location. So like Singapore, then Flutter people in Singapore, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That is kind of interesting.
It is. So you could say that LinkedIn is a free HR search
definitely.
website. And I think if I were to hire people or look for people in the future, right, I can just use LinkedIn. It's free.
When do you start using LinkedIn?
When did I start using LinkedIn? When I wanted to quit the company before I wanted to
do your own stuff.
Before pslove.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was working in Tinker Tanker, and then I knew that there's nothing for me here. So I was updating my LinkedIn back then when I learned Flutter, basically. Okay. Yeah.
So moving on to right now, your focus is on what's
Zukunf. Yeah, Zukunf. Zukunf.
What gave you the idea to do this? What incepted you, or what what gave you the idea to start something of your own? Because I know that, at least for me, right, I know if you want to start something of your own, like that, you play mind games with yourself. Like, do you really want to do this?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of friends asking you what you're doing. Your founder from pslove asking you, what is it exactly you're doing?
Yeah.
It's something about the future. It's something about the education. Or like, how did you come up with this idea?
Let me answer the first question. How did I trigger myself to quit a job? I would say. Then, basically, like I have a friend who asked me to do this personality test. So, do you believe in personality tests or not?
Actually, the like INTF, INTJ.
ENFJP.
I met one of my friends who's a psychology student, and he tells me that is the most inaccurate shit ever.
Correct.
So, but at the same time, I still do it, and I don't think that we should like look at what it defines us to be and we accommodate to that definition. But I think we should always be dynamic and just take note of. I see it more as a source of reflection in terms of like, okay, where can I improve, all that kind of stuff. Let's say if you're an introvert, would it not hurt yourself to be slightly more extrovert all that kind of stuff? So it serves to me more as a reflection tool more than like this defines me. And going back to that, no, I'm not really a big fan of it. The one I'm not a big fan of is like the Aquarius and all. The horoscopes.
The horoscope.
Because
my God.
I think that is masterful copywriting in a sense whereby it's written in such a way that it can appeal to any part of your life. So that's what my opinion of it. Okay, but you were talking about personality test. Yeah, you took a personality test.
Yeah, and I had the same opinions as you. Was like, okay, so it's just a reflection. It is something not new that I have not done yet. And then why not? I just did a personality test. So this was a different one. It's called Enneagram. Have you heard of it?
Is it a slightly more academically solid personality test? Nope. Because my friend was telling me that there was actually one like
solid
academically proven test. Okay,
I have no idea. But it's called Enneagram, and it revolves around this theory of like you have 9 personalities, and not basically you are what. Basically, you encompass a few of this personality, and then it kind of defines you, or you can just pick out what you think you relate to the most. So I did the personality test, and then I found out there was a type 8. So a type 8 was an asserter. So an asserter is basically a person who just likes to be different, who is very self-driven,
Wait, when you say different, is it different for the sake of being different or being different
born
who
different?
you are?
Like legit, like after doing that test, like that aspect of that personality test, right, triggered me so much to the point that I looked through back till when I was K1.
Wow.
Yeah, really, because I was like, dude, like I was so like it. Yeah, I was speechless basically. That this personality test, that one point I was saying that you don't care about what people say about you. No matter, it can be reflected in your clothes. It can be reflected on any actions that you do. So I knew that I was different, but I didn't know that how much it affected my life. So going back to like K1 or K2, I think it's K2. There was once where the teacher back then had an activity for us to choose a balloon, right? A color of a balloon, and then everyone chose the popular colors. So everyone chose like red, blue, green, all that, right? And then inside me it's like, no, I'm not going to choose all of that colors. I'm going to choose the one color that nobody chose. And it was purple. And then when the teacher asked me, Haris, what color of balloon would you like to choose? And then I said purple. And then looking back, all my other experiences, right?
All the decisions that you have made.
It was all based on I want to be different. No matter what people say about me, right, I always wanted to be different. So I don't mind hanging out with the uncool kids. Like the common thing is to have cliques and whatnot. I like to be alone. And then after that, I like to hang out with the not so cool kids kind of thing. And then it has reflected very well in all the experience that I've gone through. So all of this then hit me to the point that like shit. Like this personality test was one of the most accurate, I would say, that to the point resonated to the point that I want to the point that when I went to the section of what careers should I get, it's like I was so into it to the point that the careers that usually asserters get was like entrepreneurs, teachers. I enjoy teaching. I was like, dude. And then sports figures.
Okay.
And then usually type 8s also likes to do. They like to go out and do activities. They like to exercise. They like to do sports. And I'm like, yeah, like that's me. And then
So what is this test again? I'm gonna take it.
Enneagram.
I know what?
ENNEAgram.
Enneagram. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue. Type 8 personalities. The type of careers that type 8 people usually do.
Do this kind of thing. And then I was so convinced that this Enneagram works for me, right? Then I shared with the pslove, my pslove colleagues. So I hold like what do you call that? Mini session about Enneagram. And then I just, because it was so like, it hit me so hard to the point that I should share it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like
make
teaching
a video
also.
about it.
Yeah. and then after that, it got me thinking like, should I work for someone now? Like, because before that test, I love watching like entrepreneurs, CEOs, how they are good leaders and whatnot. And then I look through back also that I'm actually a natural leader.
Okay.
Like who wants to be the leader of the group? I always raise up my hand. That kind of thing. I don't really care about other people. People's like so shy. It's like, why not be a leader? That kind of thing. And then I was in secondary school the same. I would be the leader of the group. Nobody raise up their hand, I will raise up. Yeah. Then I'm just naturally a leader lah.
Okay.
And then after that, it's like after reflecting a lot about my past experience, right? And then it led me to the point that I wanted to start my own. It's like, then there's a lot of like beliefs like, hey, you're not old enough, you don't have enough money, what do you call that, you should work a bit more and then gain a bit more experience and then start your own. And then all of these thoughts come into play, and then I realized that if I don't do it now, when will I do it?
Okay.
And then after that I was like, and then I told, after 1 week of thinking about it, I told the founder of pslove, co-founder of pslove, to say that I think I want to start my own. And then he was okay with it. And then then it's like 2 months notice. So I was really like just thinking about what I want to do after I quit pslove. The thing is, I don't hate my job. Like, I like programming. It's challenging and all, but I feel that I wasn't living up to my potential. So the potential of me that I think I have currently is being a leader and just doing what I want to do and be that person who's different. Because I'm not very affected to a lot of people's comments or whatever. I've been doing that since I was young.
Yes.
So being a leader that is not affected by other people's comments or people's views, right? I'm like a rebel. So it's easier for me to like become a boss or whatever. That's why I wanted to do my own stuff. And then and I was happy when it was scary when I talk to my co-founders like, I'm gonna quit. Then it's like, oh, okay. Then after that, like after a while, yeah, they were very supportive. Because the founders were a couple, right? So I talked to okay, his name is Caleb, the IT person, and then his wife now, Peg. I also talked to her, and then we shared something similar. So like, it's an itch that we wanted to do. Yeah. So a lot of, I think, founders have that itch for them to start their own and see how it goes. Yeah, so that's how I was surrounded by supportive people, which really helped
that's
me.
Very nice.
Yeah, which helped me the transition to be to start my own. And then when I tell my parents, right, they were also okay. They were like, oh, cool. Then I was like, okay. Then I told my friends, okay. So I was like, I'm very grateful and lucky that I have these people around me to support. Even though like I said, I probably won't have money. Then it's like, that's fine. It's a business. There's always ups and downs. So I'm really grateful and happy that there are these people around to help me. And then I'm just going through figuring out what I want to do in Zukunf to find solutions that I can automate in the education sector. Yeah.
Okay, I understand where you got that drive, but how did the concept of education come into something that you wanted to incorporate into Zukunf?
So the thing about,
because you mentioned that you like teaching, like
right.
When do you start liking to teach? Like, what do you teach in general?
Back in the polytechnic days, right, I was from the applied drama and psychology. So what we do is that we create drama conventions to raise awareness of certain topics, for example, bullying or other, like, for example, like those social issues, bring them to light using drama conventions or tools. Then you have the aspect of teaching that, because sometimes you create drama conventions to kids. And then, for example, we create a drama convention out of a storybook of the main character. For example, the main character was bullied a lot.
Okay.
So why then you will act as the person who got bullied, and then you ask, hey, why do you why do people bully you? So I enjoyed the process of being the facilitator because I get to control. That's the thing about type 8s, they like control.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really associate to the Enneagram type 8. And then looking back, a lot of people also commented that I was able to be a very good facilitator or teacher. So there was once where I interned at Northlight School.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's challenging.
Yeah, yes. So for those who don't know what's Northlight School, Northlight School is where students who aren't able to pass their PSLE, they will go to that school and then they will receive education that's not the same as the normal secondary school education.
Express schools.
Yeah. So it's normal tech education, but sometimes they have to be caught up in terms of their PSLE education also at the same time. And when I went there, I tried to apply what I've learned, and then some of the teachers commended me because, hey, Haris, you are able to control the students very well. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I just played a game with them.
Yeah.
Then, like,
I just want to say that, like, being a teacher for normal tech students, I was a teacher myself actually.
Right? Oh, okay.
I did a teaching internship in MOE before.
Oh, nice.
And I was only teaching normal acad students, right? Or even express students. Wow, I think it's very difficult to control them.
It is.
Normal. I'm not to stereotype or label normal technical students, but I would say that everyone learns differently, and in my opinion, I think at least the education system hasn't properly. It's impossible for an institution like MOE to accommodate to all kinds of learning.
Yes.
And that's where I would hope that schools like Northlight would accommodate to their styles of learning.
Right.
And that's where I hope like people like you use different ways of teaching them.
Right.
So
yes.
Yeah, teaching normal technical students is crazy. Okay?
Crazy. It is. So you have to, because I was in the express stream.
Yeah.
Even though we have our like rowdiness, right? It's not as bad as the normal tech. Not say as bad. As often as normal tech students are. So you have to use different ways in order for you to control them. And
how big were the classes that you were handling?
It was actually smaller, 20 students.
Okay, well, yeah. 20 students is a lot.
It is a lot. But compared to 40 students in the normal secondary school, right? Yeah. It's way better than one way that I managed to like make them focus is to just play games with them because they are more physical, they like to move around, so just use that in order for you to control. For example, like after a drama lesson, right, we have like 5 minutes, then I played a game with them where we sit in a circle and then it's a counting game but with a twist. So every student, not every student, there's you have to count from 1 to 10 and I only can hear one voice at a time. So for example, if one student say 1, the next number was 2, right? If 2 students say number 2 at the same time, right, we have to
it's at random, right?
No, anybody can.
Anybody can say, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, I played that game before. It's so irritating.
It's so irritating, but most of them like are so focused on like try to get the vibes from each other to say the next number. So after a while, they didn't do so well, but after like 2 minutes, they see each other and then they manage to do until 10, and then I challenge them, okay, let's do 15. And they keep on continue. So like with this, like I knew that if I want to like impose certain types of like different learnings to these kind of students, right, you can try different stuff. So at the same thing that I do with currently where I volunteer teaching programming, right? So I try to experiment with different teaching styles.
Where do you volunteer to teach programming?
I currently teach at Sengkang Library.
Wow.
Sengkang Library.
How do you even get a slot?
It's very random. It's a voluntary organization called Code in the Community. So what we do is that we teach programming lessons to financial assistance scheme students. Yeah. Then after that, like it's a 10-week lesson. So every week they have a lesson about programming. And then for me, I got to know them by chance again through Facebook.
LinkedIn.
No. These are another social media. Facebook. because I wanted to do something similar. I wanted to teach programming on my own, and then I was like looking around, and then I wasn't actually looking around, but I chanced upon it, and I was like, oh, good, it fits on what I want to do, and then teaching programming to students who
like how young are these students?
Primary schools.
Primary school.
From primary 1 to primary 6. So I have different
so there are
maturity.
So there's primary 6 students and primary 2 students sitting in the same class learning program.
Yes.
How do you accommodate for such differences?
Exactly. Yeah. So one rule that I imposed to myself is that I will always teach as fast as the slowest student.
Yes, you are only as fast as the slowest.
Correct. So I will not be able to teach as fast as the fast student, because it will be unfair to the other students, right? So then it comes to another challenge. What about the fast students? Because you're teaching at a slower pace, right? What about the fast students? So I have to learn along the way that I have to give them challenges. So for example, they are finished with this activity. For example, they create a game, right? And then it's like, okay, for those who have done creating this game, why not you do a timer? So they have to program a timer. Now they have to think. So the faster students have to think, how do I create a timer? And then
if they bump into any challenges, they will ask you. And that's where it's easier that you don't have to devote so much time to them, but they just think of their own.
Yes.
Okay. That's
and then for me, I also want to push this. So currently, most schools or education centers out there, right? They're very result oriented. But what I want from the future is value oriented. So what I mean is that even if you are finished, for example, in a class, right? If you're finished with your work, what I say is that once you're finished with your work, look around you and see if anybody needs help. So once I impose that rule, right, the fastest students usually finish fast. Then after that, they will look around and then they will help the people who are still doing it.
Instilling life lessons.
So I was like, yes, it works. And it was really a happy moment. And then it's like, okay, every class I'm gonna do this, and then they will like at least have this value that I hopefully impart in them, and then hopefully they can apply it to their normal schools and whatnot, because I think they don't have, or the teacher, because I think we've been through the MOE schools, right? I think teachers are overworked.
Okay.
Right. They don't have enough breaks in between lessons. So I understand. I respect the MOE teachers out there, really. And by just implanting these values, right, hopefully they can impart in their classroom, and then this will create a very good culture. And then, because I feel that once you impart them when they're young, right, when they get older, it's much better for everyone else, that kind of thing. Yeah.
What are the most important values that you want your students to take away from your lessons?
Okay. I guess empathy. Yeah, I think. How so? So, for example, every time I teach, I have to tell myself, why am I imposing this kind of rules? So, for example, like, okay, if you are done with your work, why do I say that you have to help other people? And then I tell them, imagine you are the person who is imagine there's someone faster than you who can do an activity faster than you. Would you feel that it's better if someone helps you also in terms of your activity or your exercise or your homework? And then they feel like, oh, okay, so with this they can at least know how this kind of rules or this kind of like values that are imposed to them make sense to them, because they are kids. Sometimes they are not, sometimes they are not taught of these values. At least I try my best to impart these values to them, and then they understand it, and then hopefully they can, take little steps to being an empathetic kind of student. Yeah, because this will lead to kindness and other values because empathy is it's something that you really have to go through in order for you to understand. By just being a little bit empathetic towards someone, like understand their situation, and
goes a long way.
Goes a long way. Yeah, so you'll be less because
less selfish,
less picky, less in demand. Because I feel that nowadays people are so like, I wanna kind of thing, like people pushing to the train, people rushing to the train, like relax. Relax, like, and then like a lot of social media posts can blow up so much because it's easy to write on hate. Yeah, it's like, for example, you know, this Facebook post, I don't know where, this auntie was trying to open the MRT door.
Oh yes, I saw that. There's a lot of judgments against.
A lot of judgment to it.
But in the end, she has a child, is it?
Yeah, I think a child or someone who was autistic. And then inside the train. So
it's natural for us to rush to judgment.
Yeah, it is natural, but I feel like we should just stop and then think about maybe she's saving someone's she's looking for someone, or maybe she have something that we don't understand. Like like in this current age, we are so quick to judge. So with empathy, right, you slow down that decision of you judging, and then like, oh, maybe she has someone inside that she wants to save or whatnot. So that's why I feel empathy is very important. Yeah.
Okay, so I feel your passion for teaching, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why you put education into
Zukunf.
Okay, if there's one thing I promise saying the name Zukunf, right?
Yeah.
What's the plan moving forward? Like integrating technology and education. Can you just give us, because I know you already shared that you don't really have a very clear idea of what Zukunf is going to be, but what is the macro direction you're going in?
So Zukunf, my current direction is to automate any admin processes that education or educators are facing. For example, marking tests, right? I think that we should automate that in a sense that, for example, math questions, right? In programming, we use a lot of math. So it's easier to do math. We can mark math tests easily because it's already in part of programming languages or programming concepts. To check it, yeah. We can automate that. I believe we can do that. And that's one of my direction.
That's cool.
So the thing is, the more we give back time to the teachers, the more they can impart more values. That's what I believe. That's why it's value oriented. I push that. I push to that direction or vision, I would say. So with more admin processes being automated, the more time is given back to the educators. I don't know, to
this is a good idea,
right? To focus on their students and also close the gaps of the student and teacher relationship, because sometimes it's very very surface. I think it's better if we understand our students even more, where they are coming from and whatnot. So we can use tech, like for example, profile of students, like Haris, he's not doing well in his studies because he have like family problems or whatnot. We sometimes, as myself also, we are quick to judge the student.
Wait, are you talking about an automated system whereby it helps teachers to understand their students as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. From what I understand, I thought it was just like on the exam aspect.
Oh, no.
Also, it's like a holistic system.
Yeah. So I'm looking into that. Like slowly, but for now, one idea that I have and I want to bounce off with other like tuition centers, owners, is to automate math. Generate math questions.
This is the first focus for now. Because the immediate thing that comes in mind, like students can just do their homework on computers or on whatever web interface platforms. Then it automatically like tell them whether it's right or wrong.
Correct.
Then it gives them guiding steps.
Yes.
I can really see this ideating and becoming successful.
Yeah. So and the thing, and I listened to a podcast that have you heard of Jay Shetty?
Yeah.
Jay Shetty.
Actually, I don't really listen to his content though.
But there was one podcast that really opened my mind to entrepreneurship or ideas, right? So I have this idea, right? And then it was a podcast with the co-founder of Netflix. I forgot what's his name. Shit, I just did a video. Okay, so he said that entrepreneurships or entrepreneurs, or if you want to start an idea, right, don't romanticize the idea. Yes, you might see the vision of the idea going big and whatnot, but don't romanticize, because this is your point of view. You have to talk to other people about the idea that you have. So for example, right, he said very well, solutions will always change, but the problems will be the same. Yes. So the thing about tech is that we are evolving at a rapid pace. So the solutions now might be outdated. And then that's why I feel that we should update what our current system is being implemented, legacy systems or old systems that we have, and make it better, faster for the students, right? And then but I also want to, because I'm 1 week into this entrepreneur journey, I want to bounce off to other people to see whether it's feasible, whether it's in demand, and then if I can tap into that, and then I can slowly grow into the vision of automating almost everything or admin processes for education.
So the very first step is automating marking for math questions?
Not really. There's one, but that is not the focus now. The one idea that I had is generating math questions according to your weaknesses.
Oh, okay. Because that's even higher level.
Is it? I don't know. I think marking it's a high level. But with that, right, if there is enough demand, then I can slowly introduce new products. For example, automating marking math tests, and that makes sense, right? You generate math questions. Now you can mark math tests, and then after that, for weaker students or slower students, right, it's just repetition. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And then after that, it will make a very good product that I can hopefully sell to MOE. And then after that, I can slowly, like, my biggest goal is to have MOE to be my client. Because once I hit that,
you just need one big client.
And I'm done.
And the beautiful thing about software is that it's infinitely scalable.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing I love about software.
So it's scalable and it's cheaper to scale rather than physical products where it's slower and it's more expensive to scale to other countries. But with tech, that's the good thing about tech. That's why I really learned that you can scale at a cheap cost. You just need to know the programming language and a bit of the concepts and to explore what frameworks out there that can help you in your business. And that's what a lot of businesses are looking into.
Yes, definitely.
IT, right? And there is so much demand in IT skill. If you go to WSG, the workforce something, basically they have a job portal, right? Their most popular jobs, right? No, the most demanded jobs, right, are IT. It's like 3,000 plus.
Okay.
But there isn't 3,000 engineers out there. And Singapore has good quality engineers, trust me. But most of them go to the big five. Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, all that. So we have this problem. And the only way that I foresee is that if we can't get talents, we have to automate. We have to automate, or we have to make ourselves be as productive as two humans. We have to do that.
For those listeners out there, right, how can they find out more about Zukunf? Because like it's my first time hearing about this idea, and I really think, because part of what I do, right, is I'm a media analyst. I churn through a lot of data, so as much as possible, we want to automate things as much as possible. And automation frees your mind to do the more, you would say, important or more important stuff. So like, let's say in a teacher, if a teacher can, because what a teacher does is technically very repetitive. Every year he or she marks there's primary 5 questions again and again until it's very boring. So wow, I don't know, I really think that there's a lot of potential. I mean, if the product that you create is really as good as what it sounds in theory, but at least you have a very clear direction of where you go. That's really nice. Okay, so moving on, perhaps maybe you can just talk about some random stuff, right? You're talking about podcasts, right? What podcasts do you listen aside from Jay Shetty?
Actually, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts nowadays. I used to listen to a lot of Gary Vee.
Okay.
And then
what do you think about Gary Vee?
I think Gary Vee is a guy who's very consistent. The most consistent person I've ever seen in my whole life. I think I'm consistent, right? Like, I exercise almost every day, but he's way more consistent. He walks the talks, and he's like, even though a lot of people don't like his
why do you think not a lot of people like Gary Vaynerchuk?
Because he's a type 8.
He's a type 8. So So you think that you and Gary Vaynerchuk would more or less, I mean, you would think that he's a type 8.
I can relate to him so much because, right, he don't give a damn about anybody's opinion. So that's a type 8 like go-to thing, like they don't care. So that's one. And then the other one is that, like, he just, what does a Zerter do, right? Like he just being himself. He's not he don't forgive himself to be himself. He don't say
not apologetic for
he's
himself.
Not apologetic at all. So I think that he suits the type, like he's a definite type 8, I would say. And I mean, why not a lot of people like him? Because he's telling the truth, the hurtful truth. If you want to do it lah. Like, there's no excuse. There's worse people than a lot of people have excuses. Because the main core of excuses is fear lah. They fear things that happen. I think I'm
like
Gary Vee. Exactly. No, that's why. I've gone through what he also, like, we have something similar. That's the thing. So like, for example, I'm a very I believe that we can exercise every day. But a lot of us have excuses. So it's like, why not tomorrow? My legs are pain. Like, that's bullshit. Like, you have anything that you want to do, you can do it now. Totally. Like, I quit my job, so I have have to. The thing is, right? Yeah. So I have to walk the talk.
Yes, definitely.
So like I learned from him that anything that I talk about, because I'm a huge fan of social media because of him. So I don't see social media as like somewhere like a lot of people just post because of the likes. No, for me it's like this is damn good because you can do so many things about using social media. You can build a business out of it.
Yes.
You can do a lot of outreach. You can talk to people.
Yeah.
And that's how I get connections like you, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a social media that's blowing up. And then now TikTok.
Are you using TikTok?
I'm going to I've already used TikTok. So there was one video that I did was about excuses for not exercising. It was my first video. It got 8,000 views.
Because I teach piano as well. So I teach piano to like primary 1 to 6 students.
Right.
Then I really see them using TikTok, you know.
Oh, you should.
It blows my mind.
Right,
you know?
right.
They're really using this. But I'm not on TikTok. Unfortunately. Yeah.
But you should use it because if you have anything that you want to, not sell, but it's more towards personal branding. So like what Gary Vee says, you should focus on personal branding, which I believe, because in anything that you do, you want people to know about it, right?
Yeah.
What's the first thing, like what he said, when somebody do a coup, right? What's the first thing they hit? The media, the TV stations.
Yeah.
So anything that you want to do is through social media. So as a developer myself, right, I don't build the product. I was so tempted to build a product for Zukunf, like automated marketing system. But the thing is, right, I have to mark it out to know whether people want it before I build it. So currently what I'm doing is just interviewing people or just bouncing their ideas off to other educators or education centers. And how do I do that? Through social media. So I just go Facebook, LinkedIn. Tuition centers love to go to Facebook, LinkedIn, what else, and their websites. And then get emails and such.
Okay, so we are moving on to the last part of our podcast. Are there any books that you're reading? Do you read any books?
Oh yes, currently I'm reading. Have you heard of David Goggins?
Nope.
So David Goggins is another type 8.
Can you list down like about 5 people who are type 8 people? Then maybe you can.
I don't know actually. Like,
what's this book about?
So this book is, I think, You Can't Hurt Me or something like that.
Okay.
It's basically David Goggins saying that there's the same thing. There's no excuses. A lot of people have gone through a lot of things. So it's a book about him.
Is it more of a written in a fiction way, or like is it non-fiction?
Not fiction.
Okay.
So he wrote about his life when he was a kid. So he was beaten up by his dad, and then his dad was very abusive. And then with this trauma that he built up during when you're young, right? He built a lot of he call it devils that you build inside you. So I was reading the book and I was really digging it. I really loved it because it was so real. Like, you can't make this thing up. Like, I could feel David Goggins really like writing this book. And then I'm only in the first chapter, but I knew about him in Jay Shetty's podcast also. He talks about the devils that you have. So you have to really dig deep inside you to...
What are your devils?
Oh my god, there's a lot.
Just a few.
We all
have our...
We all have
not to say devil, but I'm sure you know what.
Like, okay, one devil is that, like, for example, I'm very close to my mom, but I'm not very close to my dad. And the thing is, like, I could say, like, I'm like kind of rude to my dad in some way or another. Like, I never give him the respect that he deserves. And then I look through like my life, why am I so mad about him? Why is it so natural to be mad towards him, right? And then I realized that actually my mom imposed the idea of my dad being bad, even though he wasn't abusive or not, but he just didn't spend enough time with us. And I think he's trying his best to support the family, that kind of thing. And then I'm slowly trying to like be more respectful towards him. So that's one devil that I had that I suddenly realized, after digging deep, like, why am I so like, I should respect him more, but why am I so rude to him, or why am I not giving the respect he deserves, that kind of thing. So with this, I slowly just become more patient, become more empathetic towards him. And then even though, like, I would say currently, like, it's like the relationship with my dad and me, right, is much better than last time. Now it's much I try to be more patient with him and such. Like, the thing is, like, he didn't do anything that I get angry, like nothing so much to the point that it gives me trauma or PTSD or any psychology trauma, but like it's just that my mother imposing the views of him when I was young, like
so it's just you being influenced from your
from my mother's point of view, and it affected so much to the point that at the age of 25, it's like shit, like why am I doing this to my dad, even though he does.
When you had this realization?
Like 2 weeks or last week.
Quite
shit,
that's very recent.
So like yeah, like okay, then I had to be like I had to really dig deep and question why, and then in the end it's just my mama, and then I couldn't blame my mom in the sense like yeah, that's an excuse. So I say that okay, it's me that imposing my mom ideas. So what I have to do is to impose my ideas of him to me. So I have to talk to him more to understand his situation and whatnot. And yeah, I became more empathetic, became more patient. And then I wouldn't say it's the perfect relationship now, but I'm working towards it. And that's what's more important.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. The very last question.
All right.
Okay, I'm running out of questions. What kind of advice would you give to a young software developer, or at least young software developers in general?
So the thing is, like, I only had like maybe 1 year, 7 months of experience in programming.
You are a testament that you really don't need to have like a university degree in like coding or CS, computer science, to be able to code something for yourself. I think you are a testament of you just finding your own ways to making it work, whether it's going through boot camps or whatever. I really respect that, but I really respect that. So what would we say to someone on the other side who's contemplating this kind of jump? I'm sure there are some people out there who are taking psychology. I mean, not to say that the course of psychology isn't good. I like the kind of academic rigor that psychology students go through. But I mean, if you were to look career-wise, right? I mean, if there are psychology people out there, please enlighten me. But I haven't met a lot of psychology graduates that are very happy with what they are doing. What would you say to people that are contemplating to jump ship?
Okay, so the thing is, right, I think Gary Vee also said like Gary Vee again, no, legit, like really like him. I'm not a fan. The thing is, like, I'm not really a fan about him, but he's saying the truth. Like, so it's self-awareness. You really have to know what you really want to do. Either it's software development or psychology, right? Because right, once you know what you want to do, right, anything towards that goal, you will do it. For example, building a business, right? I have to do cold email. Like, I don't know what's cold email. I'm scared of calling random people, right? But the thing is, I will have to do all of this in order for me to achieve my goals. So what are you good at? You have to be self-aware. So I know that I'm a leader. I know that I don't give a damn about what other people think about me, that kind of thing. So where does this fit me, this line of career? Entrepreneurship, teacher, whatever, right? So you have to be self-aware. Whether go towards software development where it's more challenging, or psychologists where it's more rigor in terms of like academics or research, right? Or even like a counselor where you listen. Like, I initially wanted to be a counselor because I love listening to people, but then I had a podcast. So that settles, right? No, so all of this, you have to be self-aware. Why you do this podcast, for example? Why you like certain stuff? For example, like, I like doing sports. Okay, so if you like sports, why? I like going outdoors. Okay, so
keep asking yourself why.
Keep asking yourself about why, to the point that you can't ask why, and that's who you are. You are born different. You are born to solve something or to have a purpose in something. So self-awareness is very important, and I would say I'm still, like, I wouldn't say I know what's my purpose yet, but I'm actively questioning what I'm doing. So like entrepreneurship, maybe it's not for me, I don't know, but at least I've tried it. So trying it, and then after that, be also self-aware at the same time. Like just and it's a long process. You have to know the best people are the people who are self-aware when they're young. That's why they're very successful now, because they know what they like, they know what they want to do, so they give their all, because it's easier for them to see their goal rather than figuring out what's your goal, right?
Okay, Haris, thanks so much for coming. Can you just give a quick 20 seconds for those people who want to know more about you? Where can they find more information about Zukunf? I'll leave his LinkedIn handles, Instagram handles, everything on top. But where can people find out more about Zukunf? So you can increase my SEO. Just Google the Happy Haris. You can find me. That's my social handle for almost all social media platform except for LinkedIn which is Muhammad Haris bin Samingan. So the Happy Haris, TheHappyHaris.
Yep.
Thanks so much, man.
All right.